So in today's video, we're going to look at some unusual honesty from the ABC about these ridiculous fast charging claims. Now, you'd have seen my video a few weeks ago about BYD. Big fanfare about how it can charge batteries in 5 minutes to give 400 kilometers of range, and it's going to change everything in the electric vehicle world, without mentioning exactly where the power to charge actually comes from. Now, those of you who've been watching this channel for a while will know that I like to talk about something called the charging conundrum. This is the relationship between charging time and power required. So if you've got a car that takes an hour to charge and you want it to charge in half an hour, you're going to have to double the power. If you want it to charge in 15 minutes, you're going to have to quadruple the power. And if you're going to make it charge in 5 minutes, you're going to have to multiply the power by 12. So BYD's 5-minute charge claim is based on supplying over a megawatt of power to the car. Now, most journalists and EV activists don't have a clue what a megawatt is, or a joule, or any kind of engineering or electrical understanding, so they don't really understand what a megawatt is. It's essentially 500 kettles all boiling at once, and the kettle is probably the most power-hungry device in your entire house. And it takes 500 of those all going at once to represent 1 megawatt of power. And providing this kind of power to charge cars is astronomically expensive. Getting that kind of infrastructure to supply 1 megawatt of power to a car charger ain't cheap. And that's just for one car. Even if you can get 1 megawatt to a charging station, if a second car pulls up, then you're immediately taking twice as long to charge your car, because that 1 megawatt has to be divided by 2 cars. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that this kind of problem doesn't happen at a fuel station, because each of the pumps can draw fuel from that tank underground at the same rate. It doesn't matter how many cars are there. But in an EV charging station where there is a fixed capacity of electricity being delivered to it, it has to be divided by the number of cars currently charging at once. So it was incredibly refreshing and quite shocking to see the ABC point this issue out in an article from the end of March, which has just been shared with me. The headline is obviously relating to the BYD announcement. BYD posts record revenue after unveiling 5-minute supercharger for electric vehicles, threatening Tesla. After the ABC goes through all the usual flannel about how wonderful BYD is and how we're going to have 5-minute charging, we get to the key point. 5-minute charging, significant hurdle for grid. Stephen Bragg, the lead partner for Motor Energy Industry Services at Pitcher Partners, told the ABC BYD's new tech was a big deal. It's very encouraging. One of the biggest issues with electric vehicles is the recharging time, he said. I think one of the big drawbacks of owning an EV is you have to think about your trip. You have to plan things out. You have to work out if you can charge. So if you could charge the car in 5 minutes, it becomes quite compelling. Mr. Bragg said the fastest chargers in Australia currently charge a car in about 20 to 30 minutes. But those require a significant amount of infrastructure, their own substation and direct line, and they cost about $1 million. It's a very expensive exercise to achieve 30 minutes or 20 minutes. To do 5 minutes, it would be unheard of in Australia, at least at the moment. If everyone started to come and charge their batteries in 5 minutes, you could just imagine the amount of electricity required into the grid. Mr. Bragg said someone charging an EV in 5 minutes with Australia's current infrastructure would black out an entire suburb, because it would just take all the electricity on the system. There's still a long way to go. One thing that's difficult to do in Australia is build infrastructure, so a lot of hype and good hope if it's true, but until there's mass adoption, it doesn't really shift the needle. Wow, about 3 paragraphs of honesty for once from the ABC. This guy's pointing out quite correctly that to go from 30 minutes charging to 5 minutes charging, you have to multiply your electricity supply by 6. Think of a fuel station on a freeway that might have 20 or 30 pumps to fuel cars. If you were going to replace that with 5-minute charging, you would need 20 or 30 megawatts of power. That is a small hydroelectric station, just for one charging station. The numbers are ridiculous. But because the environmentalists and the journalists don't have any clue about engineering or physics, they don't even understand the problems. It's only when somebody like this actually understands how charging works that we get a few paragraphs of truth in the ABC. If you want to support this channel and help me continue to make these videos, why not buy me a coffee? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen.